Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? Happy Saturday. A rare Saturday stream. But when Dansby Swanson goes to the Cubs, we gotta talk about it. A big signing there for the Cubs tonight. JD Martinez heading to the Dodgers. What are the Red Sox gonna do next? We'll talk about it here. The Blue Jays, are they going to make any trades for catchers? I don't know. It might not be happening. We're going to talk about it. The Pirates get themselves a catcher in Austin Hedges. Rich Hill, the man that ages like fine wine, like Giraffe Neck Mark likes to say, is getting some interest. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hello, hello, hello. Happy Saturday. I was not going to go live here tonight. It's Saturday. I usually, I like to give myself a rule and not go live on Friday or Saturday. Those are the 2 days I like to take off, kind of keep those to myself, go see some friends, do whatever. And I went live last night, and now I'm live here tonight. Man, oh man. But it looks like now, when it comes to the major free agents, the offseason, it looks like it's going to start winding down now. Most of the big, in fact, I mean, when you look at all of the big free agents, pretty much all of them are off the board. We still have a couple of names on there, but when it comes to the major players on the market, they're pretty much all gone. So now it's looking like we'll see some small signings. Obviously, we still got some players out there. More trades, I would think. This is now the trade market, I think, is going to get really interesting. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But obviously, Dansby Swanson, this is why I am here. A rare live appearance on a Saturday night. I was actually at a good friend's graduation party. She graduated today. And yeah, hey, good time. And then I'm at this party. And all of a sudden, the news broke. Dansby Swanson. And I said, all right, if I get home, I'm not going to rush out of here and whatever. I'm going to spend time with friends, have a good time. And if it ended up being a good time to leave, everyone was starting to head home. And if I get home at a good time, I'll go live. And here I am. So it worked out. So here we are. But everyone, I want to thank you for stopping by tonight. We are here live on YouTube, but now, I know I've said this the last few times, but we are available now on podcast format, whether you listen to your favorite podcasts on Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Apple, wherever, because this is now brought to you by the BLEAV Podcast Network. Go check out the BLEAV Podcast Network. There's a lot of great podcasts on there. A lot of former players of teams host those podcasts. Myself with Ellis Burks, we host the Believe in Red Sox podcast. So, hey, go check them out, man. There's a lot of good ones. They got football, basketball. They got baseball as well. Go check out the baseball podcast. You got former players talking baseball. It's pretty good. Even Wardy NYM. He has the Mets podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. Those guys are talking Mets over there. So, definitely a lot of good stuff over there. But, everyone, before I do get into everything tonight, actually, before I do get to the sponsors, the light goal for tonight, I don't know, let's go for 150. Can we get 150 tonight? I think we can do it. Why not? So hit that like button for me, everyone. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on our way to 30K. The goal is 30K by opening day. So subscribe if you are new. Hit the bell notification. Share the content. And for tonight's sponsor, we have BetOnline. BetOnline. Basketball is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this offseason. Go find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends, all available at BetOnline. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events. Whether that's football, basketball, hockey, MMA, tennis, boxing, golf, head to BetOnline, join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, everyone, let's get to it here. And we have a super chat coming in. Nice and early here. Luke Walker, how you doing, my friend? $1.99. Cubs cut Jay Hay to sign the shortstop version of him. And man, it's funny with Jason Hayward. I remember when that signing happened, man. That was a big deal. And I was excited for the Cubs when they got that done. Hey, he ended up helping them win a World Series. Obviously, it ended up being a pretty bad contract overall. Let's see how the Dansby contract goes. And hey, I think this is a good time as any to start diving in to the Dansby Swanson news. So like I said, Dansby Swanson heading to the Cubs. When it comes to the free agents on the market, this is the last big domino to fall. And when it came to Dansby Swanson, I'm not surprised that he ended up being the last one out of the four. Carlos Correa, Trey Turner. Wow, Xander Bogart. My God, I'm going completely blank right now. I don't go live on Saturdays. My brain does not work on this day. But I'm not surprised that he was the last one because he was coming off of a career year where it was really his only big year that he had. So I figured teams would probably move a little slower with him. And I did not think he was going to end up getting, a big, double-digit year contract, like a 10, 11, 12, 13-year deal. I just didn't see him getting that. I didn't see Bogarts getting that either. But when it came to Bogarts, the Padres, they're desperate, man. They're trying to win a World Series right now. And they gave him an offer that he couldn't refuse. 11 years for Bogarts, my goodness. But for the Cubs, it's looking like it's not officially done, but it's looking like it's going to get done. It's a 7-year, $177 million deal, full no trade clause. I'm not surprised it's the Cubs. I'm not. I remember going in, to my free agent predictions. I did like the Cubs for Dansby Swanson. It kind of just felt like the Cubs could use a winning player. I didn't see the Cubs getting a Trey Turner. Carlos Correa, I thought maybe there was a chance, but they kind of balked at him last offseason when it came to the years. For Dansby, it's kind of that happy medium, right? They're not going super long-term with him. They're not going short deal with him. Honestly, the Cubs, their names were popping up with Xander Bogaerts right before he signed. And I think there was a real chance he could have ended up going there. But the Padres came in with 11 years and said, all right, we'll give you a contract until you're 40 years old. So I think the Cubs were in on Xander Bogaerts. But in the end, the Cubs were not going to give Xander Bogaerts those years. Dansby Swanson, on the other hand, a 7-year deal, so he'll be there until he's 35. That's a happy medium for the Cubs. I think that they are very, obviously, since they signed him, they are very happy with this deal because they don't want to go crazy with the years. So this makes a lot of sense for the Cubs. And going into my predictions in the offseason, I thought the Cubs could be pretty good for Dansby Swanson. His wife is there in Chicago playing for the, the Chicago Fire. Is that their team? I can't remember the team's name. But, she's a professional soccer player in Chicago. So it makes a lot of sense for him to go to the Cubs. They needed a shortstop. Hey, they're trying to start trending in that direction. And honestly, when you really look at what the Cubs have been doing, I kind of like what the Cubs have been doing here. You got yourself your shortstop, Dansby Swanson. You added a Jamison Tyone. You made a bit of a wild card signing with a Cody Bellinger. Pretty low risk, high reward kind of a move. If he ends up doing pretty well, who knows? Maybe he could end up staying there long term. I don't know. But you go back to last offseason, you got Seiya Suzuki, you got Marcus Stroman. And, this is a pretty fun-looking Cubs team. When I'm really looking at this team, I just see a fun team. You just got some fun players here. Swanson, I'm a fan of Swanson. Nico Horner had himself a good season last year. Definitely broke out. Seiya Suzuki, I think this guy could be a really solid player. Had himself a pretty solid season last year. Had some injuries, sure, but I think he's going to keep being solid for them. Ian Happ. We all thought maybe Ian Happ could have gotten traded at the deadline last year. He ended up staying put. I've liked Ian Happ for a little while. You got some younger players here, and a Christopher Morel. Matt Mervis is a guy that the organization is high on. Yan Gomes, he's always as good with the pictures. He's good in the clubhouse. I like this Cubs offense. I think there's some fun pieces here. That's the one word I keep using with the Cubs, fun. It's just a fun team. And then the rotation. Sure, I think this rotation could use a little something. Right now, it's going to get carried by Stroman and Tyone, which in my opinion, those are basically threes in a rotation, in my personal opinion. Twos maybe in like some really bad, in some worse rotations. But Stroman and Tyone, to me, they're not aces, but I think they're pretty solid overall. And then you got some younger guys there, and Justin Steele and Adrian Sampson. Kyle Hendricks is the veteran guy. But overall, I think it's not the worst rotation out there. It could be pretty good. I don't hate it. I think it could end up being okay. I think Jamison Tyone was a really nice pickup for them. And when it comes to the bullpen, you got some arms in here. You got some decent arms, some good numbers from last year. So I think the Cubs could use some more pitching. But I like the way this team is coming together. I don't think they're quite there yet, but I think they could be pretty competitive in this division. The Brewers, they've retooled this offseason. They're going to be tough. The Cardinals are going to continue to be tough. Are the Cubs quite there to go win this division? I think they have a shot. I mean, you never know what a team is going to do going into a season. So many expectations get placed on teams that look really good going into a season, and they end up not doing all that great. Look at the Chicago White Sox last year. And then you got teams where you're not really looking at too much, and then all of a sudden they start playing well. Look at the Baltimore Orioles last year. They were right there in the wild card race. So I think the Cubs have a chance to be a decent team this year. I think they could be right there, and I think they could be in the mix for a wild card spot. This division, you never really have very high win totals in this division. Maybe some years you will, but overall, you're never really getting a ton of wins. Why not? I think the Cubs could definitely be in the mix. Absolutely. But for Swanson, he's a good player. This guy is a winning kind of a player. 28 years old, had himself a career year last year, one of the best defensive shortstops in the game. I like it. I like it overall. And then Nico Horner was also good defensively last year. I like these two up the middle. When you look at how they are up the middle infield, they're looking good. Cody Bellinger, he's going to be pretty good defensively out there in center field. Yan Gomes, I like Yan Gomes behind the plate. Up the middle, they're looking pretty strong. They got some decent bats. Swanson's going to give them a bit of a power boost there. I like it. I like the way the Cubs are looking. And I'll use the word one more time. I think it's a fun-looking team, and I think they could be pretty competitive. And I definitely think they have a chance to get into the wild card mix. Now, the only question mark, again, I'll just repeat this. I do think it's just the starting rotation. The bullpen could use another arm, but if they're right there, if they're competitive around the trade deadline, maybe they can go make themselves a move. Hey, I think the Cubs have put themselves in a pretty good position here. And I think if you're a Cubs fan, I think you should be pretty happy with the way this team is coming together. I mean, they needed a big one like this. They were linked to the shortstop market for a long time. And hey, they got it done. They got it done. So you got to love it, man. You got to love it. Now, let's move on. I thought about maybe not really talking about this tonight, but I think it does matter. Because right now, a hot button team, unfortunately, are my Red Sox. Dansby Swanson, they were in on Dansby Swanson. I was hoping they could have landed him. I really was hoping. But in my gut, I was just thinking, if the Cubs are willing to go, a little bit more with the years than the Red Sox, I could have seen the Red Sox offering him like a high AAV deal, like the Carlos Correa deal, like the 3-year with the opt-out, maybe a 5-year deal, maybe a 6. But I was thinking in my head, if the Cubs end up beating the Red Sox in terms of years, which I thought was very possible, I don't know. I just didn't really have too much hope that the Red Sox were going to get it done. I was thinking, maybe if they really offer him, some pretty good cash in a short-term deal, maybe he would be willing to do something like that and then head out to the market next year if he wants to opt out. But in the end, he goes to the Cubs. But now, where does this leave the Red Sox? And then some other teams, too, like the Twins. the Dodgers, they were in on Dansby Swanson as well. And, it looks like they're probably going to be just going with Gavin Lux there at short. So I think right now, when you're looking at a team, I think the Twins, they already just have so many infielders there. I think they're going to be fine. Could they end up making a move somewhere around here? Yeah, sure, they could. But when you look at the Red Sox right now, that is a big question mark. So they have made a phone call in regards to Miguel Rojas on the Miami Marlins. Now, I'm not sure how much I'm buying this. Now, if we go take a look here. So this was on Ken Rosenthal's little rumor article. I believe this was from last night. So he talked here, before getting Kyle Farmer from the Reds, the Twins expressed interest in acquiring shortstop Miguel Rojas from the Marlins. The Red Sox asked about Rojas more recently, but the Marlins value their pitching and defense. Now, they like Miguel Rojas there. He's kind of one of these team leaders. I have a hard time imagining that the Marlins will end up moving on from him. I think personally, like, if you have a chance, I don't think he's not amazing by any means. He's almost 34 years old. He's going to be good defensively. He's not really going to give you a whole lot. I mean, when you look at his offense from last year, about -20 with the offense on Fangraphs, 14.3 with the defense, though. He is fantastic on defense. However, I will pause here for a second. Let's actually pull up here Baseball Savant. I have not looked at Miguel Rojas on Baseball Savant, so this is the first time I'm looking at it. Is there something here where maybe... All right, well, if I'm looking here, average exit velocity is not good. Max exit velocity is not good. Expected batting average is in the top 25%. He doesn't strike out a whole lot, but he doesn't walk a lot either. He doesn't swing and miss a lot, but he is not very good when it comes to chasing. Very odd when it comes to his advanced numbers. Like, he doesn't strike out a lot, but he doesn't walk a lot. So he puts the ball in play a lot, and he's very good defensively, middle of the road when it comes to his arm. So I don't know. I don't see Miguel Rojas really being a guy for the Red Sox. I don't know. Like, it's really interesting right now with this Red Sox team. You know, I don't know. Right now, it's looking like, but hey, you could go back to last offseason. You know, with the Red Sox signing Trevor Story, it kind of felt like writing on the wall. You signed Trevor Story. He was your insurance if Bogaerts ended up leaving. Well, Bogaerts is gone. So here you go. Trevor Story is now your shortstop. Now, what do you do about second base? Right now, Christian Arroyo would be the guy. Would be the guy as of right now. However, I don't know, because Christian Arroyo has not been very durable in the last couple of years. He's had his fair share of injuries. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Actually, I'm looking at Fangraphs right now. They're now actually projecting Masataka Yoshida to be the designated hitter, and then Jarren Duran in left field. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I think Yoshida is going to be the left fielder. I don't know what you do with Duran. It is interesting, though, because they are projecting Emmanuel Valdez. He's going to have to win a spot out of spring training. But what do the Red Sox do here? I think they're going to go, now that, Swanson is off the board, Bogaerts is gone. Now there's no questions remaining about whether or not they go after a shortstop. I think, personally, they're probably going to look towards the second base market. You have a couple of names here. One guy that jumps off the screen for me is Brandon Drury. The reason he jumps off the screen for me instead of an Elvis Andrus or a Gene Segura is he has versatility. He can play other positions. That really goes hand in hand with how Alex Cora likes to operate. He likes guys that can have that flexibility, that can move to other positions, give a guy a day off, play different or have different lineups. I think Brandon Drury would fit with the Red Sox. It depends on, and I don't think he's not going to get himself a long-term deal. Right now, Fangraphs is projecting him for a 3-year, $30 million deal. I think Brandon Drury makes a lot of sense for the Red Sox. Could you go with an Elvis Andrus? He was actually pretty good last year. I mean, the slash line wasn't amazing. He hit 249, a 303 on base, a 404 slugging. He had 17 homers, had 58 RBIs. He did steal 18 bases. He was actually really good on the bases. He had a 6.0 base running. That was one of the higher base running numbers in the game. And he's pretty good defensively. So if I go to Baseball Savant, if I go take a look here at Mr. Brandon Drury, and let's kind of see how the spray chart was looking. He's a right-handed bat. That's another thing the Red Sox could use. And if you look here, and here's another reason why Brandon Drury, I think, could really fit the Red Sox, is just look at the spray chart. He is a pull guy. And hey, guys that like to pull, you got the Green Monster. I think Brandon Drury could be a really nice fit for the Red Sox. Gives you that versatility. Not too bad when it comes to the advanced numbers. You're seeing some reds. Yeah, he's pretty middle of the road when it comes to the strikeouts, the chase. Doesn't walk as much as you would like, but he's pretty decent defensively. My eyes are on Brandon Drury right now. I think he could end up being the guy for the Red Sox, and I think Elvis Andrus could be maybe another possibility. The advanced numbers, you are seeing more blue with him, but you are also getting a pull hitter. So, right-handed bat, tends to pull, Green Monster. He could fit there as well. Another guy I would also keep an eye out for is Jean Segura. This is a guy that was just playing in a World Series last year. Tends to pull as well. He's got some blues here with the advanced numbers. He's got some reds as well. He doesn't strike out a whole lot, which is nice. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. He doesn't walk as much as you would like. I think Jean Segura, Andrus, or Drury could be an option. My number one option right now, I would sign Brandon Drury. He's going to be on a short-term deal, 3 years, maybe a fourth, maybe an option. I could see that. But when I'm looking at the Red Sox right now, everyone's asking right now, what are the Red Sox doing? What are they doing? What is the plan? So for all of you that have been asking that, Red Sox fans that have been wondering, what is Hyde doing? Here's what I think he's doing. After seeing Swanson head off the market and JD Martinez go elsewhere and just seeing everything unfold, I think the Red Sox are trying to simply transition into a new era of Red Sox baseball. That's what I think they're doing. They're trying to rebuild this farm. They're trying to get a deep farm system without hindering themselves with long-term deals. They're okay with these, 5 or 6 year deals with a few. They don't want to restrict themselves financially with long-term deals. They want flexibility. That's what the Red Sox want. They want to get more to that style of an organization, similar to the Dodgers, where they can continuously pump in talent onto the team, or also use talent to make trades. I think one day you will see the Red Sox get to a point where they will offer some long-term deals, but I think right now they're going through a pretty painful process to try and get to the promised land. Will it work out? We don't know. We can sit here and say everything we think. We could say our opinion, but I think right now, as Red Sox fans, we're going through a pretty when I say painful, it's kind of funny, because we did sign someone like a Yoshida. We have made, a move with Kenley Jansen and Chris Martin. It's funny because Red Sox fans, we have been spoiled. We've been very spoiled over the years. And I think the team, they are trying to get to a point where they're not so up and down. They're not trying to go through all these yo-yo kind of years. They want consistency. They want a strong farm. They want a good enough team on the field right now. This team is not amazing, in my opinion. I'll tell you, though, I don't see a bad team. I don't see a bad team. And I will say this. I think the lineup could use something. However, I think the Red Sox this year, if their starting rotation is durable, I'm not saying they have to be amazing. They don't have to be this amazing rotation. If they can make their starts every fifth day, Chris Sale, Pivetta, Whitlock, Paxton, Bayo, whoever, Tanner Houck, if he gets into the rotation, if they make their starts every fifth day, if they can get into the fifth, sixth innings, this bullpen is looking pretty good. I like how this bullpen is looking. If there's one thing about this team that I like, it's this bullpen. It's pretty strong. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, here we go. Giraffe Neck Robbie here. Giraffe Neck Robbie. I had a comment today. I want to address this because someone asked me, hey, Robbie, why do you keep saying Giraffe Neck Robbie? Is there like beef between you two or whatever? No, not at all. Not at all. I actually, met Giraffe Neck Mark. I'll just call him Mark. I met him at the YouTubers versus pro baseball players game over the summer. Mark's a great guy. He was very kind. He was a cool guy. I was very humbled to meet the guy. The guy's had a lot of success on YouTube. I respect him a ton. Absolutely. And I will say Giraffe Neck Robbie. The reason it's because for those of you that are new, you've been hearing me say that. If you think I'm kind of just making jabs. No. It really came from because I had someone in the chat like a long time ago saying, Robbie, why do you keep talking about your Red Sox? You're like Giraffe Neck Mark or something, because Mark would always, we all know Giraffe Neck Mark, man, always picking the Mets. He's gotten away from that. I'll definitely give him that. He's gotten away from always picking his Mets all the time. But I remember a long time ago when I had 40, 50, 30 people in the chat. I remember someone said that, and it kind of made me laugh a little bit. So, no, I don't say Giraffe Neck Robbie out of disrespect. I just say it because it's kind of it's a running joke here on the channel. So, Nicholas, man, I remember the Calf Neck Army. The Calf Neck Army, man. Good times. Man, we're hanging out with 40 people in the chat. Man, oh, man. Good times. But, yeah, no. I just wanted to address that for anyone that is new who keeps hearing me say Giraffe Neck Robbie. No, it's not out of hate. If anything, it's out of respect, because the fact that I'm saying someone's name, that's, they obviously have had a lot of success. So no hate towards Mark at all. Just wanted to make that clear to everyone. Anyway, I digress. The Red Sox, I think they can be a pretty good team. I think they can. That's not me being biased. I'm just looking at it. They have to make their starts. They had a very inconsistent rotation last year with health. I'm not saying they will be good, but they could be. They have a formula for success. Make your starts, go to the bullpen. I would like another bat in this lineup. You have bats here. You got Devers. Story, if he bounces back. Yoshida could end up giving you something. Tristan Casas, it could take him a couple of years to really get going, but there's a big future for him. Kike Hernandez, man, he's always solid. I think this could be a decent team. I could also see a team that finishes under 500. It could go either way. I don't know what to think of the Red Sox right now because this is not a complete team. So we'll have to wait and see. But my eyes are on Brandon Drury for the Red Sox. I think he could be a possibility. Maybe Gene Segura, maybe Elvis Andrus. I don't think they're really going to go out there and try and trade for a shortstop. I don't see Miguel Rojas happening. I don't know. I just don't think he really... If it does, I don't really see a whole lot there. Good defense, but I don't know. I'd rather have Brandon Drury. The bat last year looked really good. He has versatility. I think Cora would like that. Bloom also likes guys that have versatility. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's move on here. Speaking of the Red Sox, JD Martinez heading to the Dodgers. I got to say, JD Martinez, I think you can consider JD Martinez one of the best free agent signings in Red Sox history. This guy was an absolute machine when he came over to the Red Sox. My goodness, the year that he had in that first year with the Red Sox in 2018, absolutely phenomenal. MVP candidate. He was right there. But last year, he was still pretty good last year for the Red Sox, sorry. The power was a bit down, not the same kind of bopper we're used to seeing. But JD Martinez was still really solid last year. But he is heading to the Dodgers on a $10 million deal. They were connected there with Swanson, so they made the pivot. Oh, you know what? I want to address this. I had someone coming after me today on Twitter. He is a name on Twitter. He's got around, I don't know, like 800 or so followers on Twitter. This guy, I'm not going to say any names, all right? I'm not going to say any names. But when John Heyman said, because the Red Sox he was reporting today that the Red Sox were still showing interest in bringing JD Martinez back. So I commented, kind of half jokingly, I commented on that tweet saying, oh, okay, so they're out on Dansby Swanson. Got it. And then this guy, who's like a Red Sox expert on Twitter, I guess, I don't know, he acts like it. He came after me saying, JD Martinez, the Red Sox showing interest in JD Martinez is not correlated with Dansby Swanson. Okay. Well, my first reaction when that was being reported, the Red Sox showing interest in JD Martinez, my thinking was, I was kind of being dramatic. I was joking in that way. Like, oh, great, we're out on Swanson, so they're going to bring JD Martinez back. I was kind of joking in a way, but I was kind of half serious at the same time, because why would the Red Sox all of a sudden be showing interest in JD Martinez, a right-handed bat? Granted, I know he doesn't play shortstop. I get that. But to me, all of a sudden, hadn't been hearing anything with Swanson and the Red Sox, and now they're showing interest in JD Martinez. And to me, I saw a bit of a pivot. Probably if you started hearing all these news about Swanson and the Red Sox, and all of a sudden, now you're hearing about JD Martinez, my thinking is, well, they're probably they might not be in on Swanson anymore. And then, I'm not even kidding, it was like 30 minutes later, Swanson to the Cubs. And I'm like, oh, okay, Mr. Expert. Okay, Mr. Red Sox expert. I guess there was no correlation. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I wanted to address that because people gotta stop thinking that they're experts. I don't think I'm an expert by any means. I'm just sitting here. I'm at my desk in my apartment. I'm not an expert. Can people stop acting like they're experts out there when you're not an expert? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. Here we go. Dodgers. JD Martinez. I like it. Hey, what is there not to like? He's good. What else is there to say? You lost Trey Turner. Now you're adding a right-handed bat back in. Hey, it's not going to be the same bat, but it's a bat. And hey, now you're reuniting Mookie Betts and JD Martinez. Pretty cool. I think the Dodgers still look pretty good. JD Martinez is a pro. He's a pro's pro. And I think he's going to really fit in with this team. Guys feed off of JD Martinez. He's one of those veteran guys. he can look at you. He's a very analytical guy when it comes to his swing, when it comes to just analyzing everything going on with his mechanics. I've read about players going to JD Martinez if they're kind of going through a bit of a slump. JD will just look at them and be like, oh, you're kind of doing this, right? He's that kind of a guy where he's almost like a coach in a way. I think anywhere he goes, it's going to benefit the team. So I like it. I mean, sure, maybe their offense, it's not going to be the same without Trey Turner. They are losing that speed. But at least you're getting a bat in JD. And, hey, I still like the way the Dodgers look. But it looks like guaranteed now Gavin Lux is going to be the shortstop unless they make another move. You know, could they go a different option here? But right now, Lux is looking like the shortstop. I do think they need to address center field. Trace Thompson is right now projected as the center fielder. I still think you could go after a Brian Reynolds if that asking price comes down. The Dodgers have the prospects to get that done. So, I don't know if I talked about this the other night. I don't think I talked about this. Noah Syndergaard going to the Dodgers? I don't think I ever talked about this. It's fine. The Dodgers were posting about it. You know, like making it look like they had just signed Jacob deGrom or like Verlander. They put like this promo video of like, it's Noah Syndergaard, man. Like, he's fine, but he's not going to be like, he's not what he used to be. I thought it was pretty funny, honestly. But Syndergaard, yeah, you know, he's just giving you an arm in the rotation. He's giving you some depth. Dustin May coming back after Tommy John. He'll be back this year, fully healthy. I think the rotation still lacks a little bit at the top. I like an Arias, Kershaw. I like Arias, but I think they're kind of lacking when it comes to... Gonsolin needs to take a step forward. I guess he was good in the regular season last year, but he ran into some health issues at the end of the year. I still think they need something else at the top. That's just my opinion. I don't know. It just looks a little soft at the top. I know Dodgers fans, you might get a little heated at that. To me personally, it just looks, they're just lacking oomph, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Like Kershaw, obviously he's legendary. When I say soft at the top, I mean more for like playoffs. Like, I like Arias, but when he comes down to, like, games 1, 2, 3, I don't feel extremely confident with the Dodgers rotation. That's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. But I like the Dodgers. I think they're looking pretty good. I do think they need to make some other moves. Brian Reynolds, I think, could be a candidate for them. Could there be some other options out there on the trade market? When you're looking at... the free agent tracker, I mean, you didn't really have a whole lot in center field as it was anyway. I mean, you don't really have a lot of options here. If we're looking at shortstop, the Red Sox could go after Jose Iglesias too. I made a joke today on Twitter. That Trevor Story, Jose Iglesias tandem up the middle is going to be a barn burner. Could they go after Iglesias? I don't know. Maybe Andrews. Maybe. I don't know. But there's not a whole lot here. So I think the Dodgers, I think you will see them go to the trade market. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's move on here. Let's move on. Good move for the Dodgers, I think. Here we go. Let's shift gears. Let's talk the Pittsburgh Pirates. We never talk Pirates on this channel. It's nice to see the Pirates making a couple of moves. I like it. Austin Hedges, one of my favorite catchers in the game. I think it's a good move. Here we go. Pirates signing Austin Hedges to a 1-year deal, $5 million. As we all know with Austin Hedges, he's not going to give you a whole lot with the bat. He'll come through with a home run here and there. He's going to give you a lot of defense, though. And I like it. I think anywhere he goes, he's just going to make the team better. He brings intangibles to a team, in my opinion, and great defense as well. All of a sudden, the Pirates, when I'm looking at this lineup, It looks kind of fun. Is that just me? Am I the only one that thinks the Pirates lineup looks kind of fun? You got O'Neal Cruz. You got Brian Reynolds. You got Brian Hayes. You got G-Man Choi, Carlos Santana. Jack Sawinski hit some home runs last year. I mean, it's not great, but I don't know. I think there's a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's endearing. Is that the right word? It's not amazing, but you kind of look at it and you're like, yeah, I like it. It's not the most flashy thing out there, but there's something to it. I don't know. I see some names here. I like it. And I like Austin Hedges bringing some defense to this team. And I'm sure Austin Hedges, hey, maybe him and Henry Davis can hook up in spring training. They can get together, work on some skills when it comes to the defense. Austin Hedges, man. This is, Austin Hedges is a guy down the road I could see maybe being a manager of a team. He's just a really good defensive guy. He just has an eye for the game. I could see Austin Hedges being a manager one day. But, hey, the Pirates, they got some decent pieces on this team. I don't think they're going to be a complete laughingstock. I think you could see them win, maybe anywhere from like 74 to 78 games this year. I don't think that's completely out of the question. But hey, Austin Hedges going to the Pirates. I gotta also talk. I completely missed this story. Wow, I completely skipped over one of my main stories. But speaking of catchers, let's talk the Blue Jays. All of a sudden, the Toronto Blue Jays, they might not be in the market to be trading one of their catchers. Let's go take a look here. Taking a look. So, coming into this offseason, we knew the Blue Jays, they had a bit of a surplus when it came to catchers. You had Alejandro Kirk, you had Danny Jansen, and you got Gabriel Moreno. So, people were thinking, all right, well, probably trade one of these guys. I mean, why do you need three pretty good catchers? Alejandro Kirk, very solid last year. Gabriel Moreno, promising prospect. And then Danny Jansen, who played pretty well overall last year. Only to around 250 at-bats, but he looked pretty solid. Now, out of the three, it was looking like Danny Jansen was going to be the guy that the Blue Jays would look to deal. But now, when we're kind of looking at how things have shaped up, right? Now, according to reports, the Blue Jays were looking to trade Danny Jansen and maybe get a pitcher back. Well, they ended up signing Chris Bassett. So it is not a certainty now that a catcher will be traded. But I would imagine they're still going to be looking. Now, let me pull up baseball trade values. And when we go look at the value of a Danny Jansen, as of right now, he's worth around $25 million. So he's going to get you a pretty decent package back. The problem with Danny Jansen, I think when you kind of look at him, he only had around 250 at-bats last year. He is young. He's 27. But I kind of think he doesn't pop off the screen. You know what I mean? He's good. But what do teams really value him as? Now, on baseball trade values, whenever you see these values that are in the yellow, that's the median value. It could go as low as around $20 million for him, or it could go as high as $30 million. So baseball trade values, they'll have the lowest value, they'll have the highest possible value, and then they'll have a median value. So I could see maybe Danny Jansen maybe not getting as much of a return like they're suggesting here at 25. I could maybe see anywhere like around 20, maybe 15 to 20 million. Now, who are some teams that could use some catchers? Well, if I'm looking at the positional depth charts on Fangraphs, I mean, the Rockies, maybe. There's not a whole lot going on there, but they do have some young guys there. Probably not the Astros. The Astros, to me, are not good trade partners because they don't have a lot to trade. They could use someone like him. I think it's possible. They were looking at Sean Murphy, and there was, to me, I didn't really see them getting Sean Murphy. The Giants, if they feel like Joey Barr is not the answer long term, I think the Tigers could be pretty interesting. You know, look out for them. Could the Cubs get in on it? They got Yan Gomes. I wouldn't count out the Cubs. They've been making moves. So look out for the Cubs. Maybe they try and get Danny Jansen. Maybe the Padres. You got Campusano and Nola. So maybe not. I don't know. You do have some other teams. And the Diamondbacks, maybe. You got Carson Kelly there. Jansen would be a bit of an upgrade when it comes to catchers, and the Diamondbacks were looking at Sean Murphy. So I wouldn't count out the Diamondbacks. Maybe the Marlins. I think they could use a bit of an upgrade offensively. You got Jacob Stallings last year, and I don't know. That doesn't really seem like it's been that big of an improvement. I could see some of those teams going after Danny Jansen. I wouldn't completely count out the idea of him getting traded. I think out of the three, it's going to be him. Gabriel Moreno, I don't know. Maybe they could trade Moreno. I would think Alejandro Kirk they're going to hang on to. Maybe Moreno. Maybe. If I go to baseball trade values, Moreno, he has a 53.7 value. I would think the Blue Jays would want to hang on to him long term. But you got Kirk and you got Jansen, and Moreno could fetch you a pretty decent package. So, I don't know. I wouldn't count out Moreno maybe getting moved either. I would think Jansen is probably more likely. So, be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to hang on to all three. That to me would be crazy. But let's move on here. We got our last story of the night. We got Rich Hill in the news. The legendary Rich Hill. He's drawing some interest out there. And, I was kind of thinking about this. You know who Rich Hill kind of reminds me of? Let me pull up the name here. Let me pull him up. You know who Rich Hill reminds me of? Could he be the next Jamie Moyer? He's getting up there in age, but it seems like this guy every year just keeps pitching, right? And he's still getting interest. The Orioles, the Angels, the Rangers showing interest in Rich Hill. He was pretty decent last year. And I could see the Orioles being a fit. I feel like they could use another veteran guy. The Angels, I don't know. The Rangers, all three of these teams, they're looking to add depth. Now, with Mr. Rich Hill, taking a look, where the heck? Here he is. Rich Hill. He was pretty decent. He had 26 starts last year for the Red Sox, a 4.27 ERA. The FIP was a 3.92. But Rich Hill really reminds me of Jamie Moyer. Jamie Moyer pitched until he was 49 years old. He was 49 pitching for the Rockies in 2012. I think Rich Hill could definitely do that. This guy just seems to keep going every single year. I'm hoping Rich Hill I hope he pitches until he's 50. Can we please do that? But I could definitely see a match here. The Orioles, I think, could add someone. I think they could use some more depth. And a guy like Rich Hill would be, I think, a good veteran guy for that young team. The Angels, I think some more depth is never going to hurt them. And you got the Rangers. They've been adding a lot of guys to the rotation. Obviously, DeGrom, Heaney, Odorizzi. Could they use a little more depth? I think that's possible. So, look out. I think all three teams. Absolutely. Could the Red Sox end up bringing him back? I think that's possible. I think that's definitely possible. But Mr. Rich Hill, the next Jamie Moyer, I hope. We'll have to see where he goes. Everyone, I'm going to get out of here. Don't forget about our sponsors. We got SeatGeek. Use my code HYDE, $20 off. Go find yourself a good deal on SeatGeek. Go see yourself a game, whether that's basketball, football, maybe even a concert. Save yourself some money using my code HYDE. Don't forget about Prize Picks. That's a different type of betting where you can play over-unders. Use my code GINGER. You'll get a 100% deposit match. We are trying to land Manscaped as a full-time sponsor. Use my code HYDE. You get 20% off. They got a lot of great products on there. Hey, if you're trying to step up your male grooming game, trying to maybe take care of some business down below, then go check out Manscaped. 20% off if you use my code HYDE. And also, don't forget about tonight's main sponsor, brought to you by BetOnline. Go use the code BLEAV, BLEAV. Save yourself or get a 50% welcome bonus when you sign up. And tonight's show is brought to you by the BLEAV Podcast Network. Make sure you go check out some podcasts over there. Everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm done. It's Saturday. Honestly, I'm probably going to bed. I did some squats today. I'm dead. I'm dead. I need some sleep. Everyone, thank you for joining me tonight. Always appreciate it. I love all of you. And go have yourself a good night. If anything happens tomorrow, I would like to go live tomorrow. Sunday night is always the night that I like to go live. So, be on the lookout for tomorrow. I'm sure I'll find something to talk about tomorrow, even if nothing happens on the off-season market front. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But have yourself a good night, everyone. Always appreciate you stopping by, and I'll talk to you next time.